Welcome everyone, Coast to Coast podcast with my man Tori. I don't remember I was trying to remember what episode number we're on. I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
31?
No, we're in the 20s. It's either 21 or 22, but whatever one it is.
Yeah, we got to 30.
No, not yet. No, we only started in November. But Ambitious. We're going to get to 30. It's only probably by the end of this playoff, right?
Maybe before that if we start doing two a weekers.
Yeah, 2 a weekers. You got something to.
Probably will have to.
You think so? Yeah, yeah. Well, at least maybe
not every week, but like when there's like ending of series.
Milestone spots, yeah. Milestone spots.
Maybe 3 every 2 weeks kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see it. We're trucking along here though, and it's a good time because they're so close to coming back. If you're a soccer fan, you're already possibly watching. But hockey, baseball, basketball, all within weeks away now of starting up. What are we, July 15th? So 15 days till hockey. August 1st, it was announced. I don't know if we talked about it 2 weeks ago when we did our podcast.
I don't really remember what we talked about, so if anything is repeated, we apologize, but whatever. It's refreshing, right?
Yeah, it's whatever, yeah. So I guess things that I know we didn't talk about, the schedule came out for the first round and
what's it called? Exhibition, I guess.
Game? One exhibition games, yeah, and I was more just going to say the round robin as well.
Play-in round?
The play-in round and the round robin for the teams that have already come in. So that's all come out.
So much stuff going on.
Yeah, seriously, lots going on. Players they're starting to hit the ice. I'm pretty damn excited. I was watching the Vegas Knights practice the other day. So like just actually watching, it's been pretty good.
I've got a bunch of people messaging me saying, hey, like, I'm just watching practice on Twitter. Like, I'm so desperate. I just need to watch something, right?
So desperate to see the sports. The sports just start coming, and it's coming along good. But, yeah.
I mean, in the first 10 days of hockey, there's going to be 46 games. So that's minimum 5 or 6 a day.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
It's going to be great.
But hold on, that graph that they sent out, I mean, I guess I can look here, but the graph that they sent out, did that include also the the teams that are just playing for seeding?
What do you mean, what graph? Like with the schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it has all the games. It has the round robin games, and it also has the play-in games.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that part.
Yeah, I sent it in the group there.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now, and that's what I meant. I just thought it was only the play-in games. I thought it didn't include, so I was going to say, this 5 or 6 is not even including those other matchups, but...
No, it definitely does. I'm looking here at it. It says games per day, 5, 5, 6, and then it's 6 the rest. So the first 2 days is only 5, and that's mainly because the round robin hasn't really kicked off yet, and then after that it's 6 per day. Yeah. That's just assuming, though, all the games go 5, which we know they won't. Some teams, I think, I know some teams could be done after 4 days if they get swept. They do all this talk, all this shit, just to get to pack their bags after 4 days and go home. It'll be pretty ironic.
Yeah. But... Well, that's what I'm looking at right now. It's some of the teams. Like, I know I asked you earlier if you wanted to look at our predictions and revisit them, but we can do that later. But I was still looking at them just to kind of see if anything did drastically change, and it's a couple things just with Price. I just think that he's not engaged based on what I've read. There's going to be some players, and that, just to your point of coming back for 4 days, like I can see a scenario where Price comes back and he gives 5 or 6 up in the first night, and he says like,
"F this, yeah,
what the fuck am I doing here?" Like,
yeah.
And then the next night he gives up a couple, and he's just like, whatever. Like I'm done tomorrow. So like,
yeah, you get the feeling. You ever have those I don't want to say this, but those work weeks where you have maybe a 2-day week and you just kind of put through the emotions because you know you're going weekend to weekend basically.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be any players that are going to kind of be like that and just any teams. I guess it's the jobs of the coach to get people ready. I know there's some teams that it's pretty out there that they're coming and they're playing for. This is like to some of them their best chance at a Stanley Cup, kind of like a refresh situation. So
I mean, it'll be interesting to see with some of the teams because like I there's a couple of the matchups where I don't actually legitimately see both teams having a shot to win the series. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but I just feel like there's 2 or 3 teams that could just be there, like you said, to go through the motions and be like, I'd rather we weren't even here, but since we are here and we're probably going to lose, if not this round, then next round for sure. So like, what the fuck? And like, you got general managers who are like, well, you know, there may not be AHL next year, so we got to be mindful of this year and next year, which are going to be impacted by this, plus the expansion draft the year after. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of minds going different ways.
yeah,
And I feel like the teams who are truly in sync from top to bottom are going to be the ones left in the final. You know, I know the final 6 isn't really a thing, but like the last couple of rounds where the teams who are in it to win it kind of thing. You know,
for sure. And I think when you're talking about our predictions, like if realistically, if we do a podcast every like next week or the week after, we could get them done, get it in. I don't know if we're gonna take another 1 week off just because of the lack of stuff happening before the games are played, but we still have 2 potential podcast days where we could get the predictions in before the thing starts. And I think if we just wait a little bit closer, it becomes a little more clear of what players, like for me, for instance, there's a big question mark around Fleury, whether he's going to play. They don't know why he's sitting out the past couple of days, so it's apparently not COVID related, but just like certain players want
they have Leonard, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly, but there's going to be a couple teams that have that kind of situation where players come back and they're just not capable of playing.
Well, look at Chicago. Corey Crawford, they deemed him unfit to play, and then they traded Leonard away. I haven't checked, but
they had no expectation.
Delia?
No expectation to make the playoffs, though, at that time, too, when they were trading.
That's true.
Yeah, but I think Delia's the next guy up.
I think so. Had Crawford been healthy, I could see Chicago Edmonton as an entertaining series. Like I still think Edmonton comes out on top, but it's not a sweep, and it's a couple close games. Maybe Edmonton wins 3-1, but there might be an overtime kind of win in there. Edmonton will probably maintain that series, but I thought it would be okay. But now if Crawford doesn't play, I don't know if that series is really worth watching.
What did they call it again?
Draisaitl should just pump them. Just unfit to play.
Yeah, okay. So unfit to play apparently.
They're not releasing injuries right now.
Yeah.
So
that could be anything. Like if you have like a bruised or a sprained ankle, that's kind of what they're saying now. Is unfit to play is like the new terminology.
But it's different if they say unfit to play for phase 3 or unfit to play for phase whatever. They're giving a deadline of when they can come back. So it's almost like a DL in baseball where it's like, hey, it's 15 days or whatever. Like there's like a timeline on it. So
with him, there's not.
Yeah, so like for example, the Leafs deemed Liljegren unfit for phase 3. So like I don't know off the top of my head the time of phase 3, but there is phase 4. So once they click into phase 4, they can then revisit and either put him back on the roster or whatever. But they're deeming that this phase he's unfit.
Okay.
Where with Corey Crawford, they said he's unfit to play.
Okay.
Tomorrow they could say he's fine.
Yeah.
We don't know. So it's more of an indefinite or unknown versus a, next phase we'll reassess and kind of thing. So there's going to be different levels and different degrees of unfit to play. But,
yeah, and I think it's at the very least it's promising right now that these games are gonna be get going.
The interesting thing I've heard is like there's going to be lots and lots of tests. Well, what happens and what's going to happen in a game 7 just before they're about to go on the ice and their star player tests positive and he can't play, and then all of a sudden the next morning it's a false positive. He could have played. Another team lost.
Yeah, it's
a logical situation. Like,
yeah, that's why they have essentially what is the rule book of this I'm sure the Players Association and the NHL went through all these different scenarios, and they're in agreement. Sure, there's risk that that's going to happen, but at the end of the day, the players' safety is more important to the players than probably winning. Yep. Maybe.
Maybe.
I would assume so. Who wants to win a cup and then die? Well, some people, yeah.
There are people out there who probably would take that deal.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not advocating for that though.
No. If I was looking at the teams, I could probably pick 7 or 8 right now who I could say that I could see them getting in sync and going on a run. They have the right coaches. They have the right situation with the coaches. They have the right mindset. They have the right injuries back. They have the right depth. They have the right blend of youth. Like old teams, I don't think are going to kickstart very good.
Yeah, there's definitely some concerns there. What would you classify as an old team? Just
I mean, not as old as an old team used to be, but like an older team would be a team that isn't young. Now I know that's a stupid answer, but like team that's full of young players that just have all the energy in the world.
Yeah,
they can pick up and they can go for a 50 fucking kilometer run right now, right? Where if you're an older guy that maybe hasn't done much and he says go run 50 kilometers, you might sprain something or you might tweak something or you might lax a little bit or you might be a bit out of shape or you know what I mean? Like your body might have taken a bit more of a damage than a younger body might. So like I would even classify Tampa as almost an older team.
Yeah, I was kind of just looking over to the side there, trying to think of who might be older. I guess like Minnesota kind of comes to mind. Boston, Dallas, possibly.
A little bit of Dallas, yeah.
So, yeah. It's gonna be like this is what I like the most. To me, it feels like Olympic hockey, and Olympic hockey is like my favorite thing to watch.
See, that's the thing is that during the Olympics, it's always the same thing. The round robin, there might be one surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Every couple Olympics, there's a huge surprise, but for the most part, there's only maybe one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then nothing really surprise happens until you get to like a second round of the elimination games. That's when you get, like the Germanys or the Switzerlands or
that's not going to happen here, though. There's a little bit difference in the fact that there's not the Canadian juggernaut. Like in the NHL, it's a little bit more parity to it, so there should be more.
And it's not one game elimination.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever actually talked about that either.
What's that?
That the NHL,
the Olympics?
Yeah, the NHL agreed to the Olympics, which is awesome.
We haven't talked about that. It is awesome, and I'm excited. And I think that it went a long way for the NHL to ratify the CBA and get everything connected to not dealing with these problems going through expansion and stuff. Like the NHL kind of gave themselves a nice little window here.
Totally.
As long as they start making some money. As long as they start making some money. That's the only. I think it's a blessing that they had that deal with Seattle already done.
Yep.
But I think there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
Like I heard today, what was the number? So the cap's going to be stuck at what, 81.5 for 3 years?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know I don't know the number for sure, but I know it's stuck at the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it's 81.5. Darren Dreger was saying, I'm pulling a number out of my head here, but the owners wanted to take the cap down to like 62.
Whoa.
64.
It'd be impossible.
Yeah. So everyone would have a contract rollback. So everyone took a 30% contract rollback via escrow. So basically everyone's cap is like 30% less than it actually is. The math's still the same for the cap percentage, but the actual payout of the money is like deferred and paid back and with interest and all this other shit. Really? No.
Okay.
No, much more than that. But yeah. So it should be interesting to see. Had they gone to 62 million, I could almost guarantee you that would have come with compliance buyouts.
Yeah, it would have to.
Because that would have been the take for the owners. Yeah. Sure.
I'm glad they at the very least are keeping it. It makes sense that they kind of set it forth for the next couple of years because realistically, the next couple of years are, who knows like when fans are actually going to start going back.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It's nice though that they now have deemed that they have a calculation to determine the cap because now the owners, instead of having to be like, okay, let's wait and see what the cap number will be. It will be like, all right, it should be, in this
Yeah,
500,000 window.
you can kind of
We'll have a
project
much
what it
more
is.
indication.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
it's good.
But they're saying that in 3 years, not best case scenario, but ideally, based on where they'd like to be, the cap will go up 10 million in 3 years.
Okay.
So it'll be stagnant for 3 and then up 10.
Which could not really be much, like a player, or maybe 2.
That just tells me there's going to be a lot of people that are told, like, sorry, there's no money for you now, but take a 2 or 3 year deal. And if you're not 31, 32, 33 now, you'll get another contract as long as you're not hurting.
Well, let's be honest. The business model that they were running, it doesn't exist anymore. They can't be sure. They need to kind of make sure that they can make money in this new business model, whatever it may be, before they can really commit to, hey, all right, now we're making money still. Like, we can spread the money to the players that actually earn the money.
Yeah.
It's more of a safety net for the league to make sure it doesn't go under.
You know what I'd love to do, or love to see list of, is to go back to the last, like, post-lockout type thing where the cap lowered this much and look at what players at that time signed for what.
Yeah.
Compared to the market or the price for the year before.
Yeah.
I know it's a little bit different because I'm pretty sure that was when it went from no cap to a cap. But when you said how can you possibly go to 62, well, the only answer to that is compliance buyout, right? I think.
Yep. That doesn't really help solve the problem because teams still have to spend money when that happens.
And owners don't want to spend a ton of money to spend less money, or
they don't want to. They don't want to spend money to not spend money. No.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like a sunk cost, really.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the point, right?
Yeah,
so,
it makes sense. I mean, this is the route. Like, everything about this route makes sense. Watching all these leagues reopen, I really appreciate the way the NHL seems to have done it. From my perspective, it looks like they chose the right locations to play.
Yeah.
They kind of got the right idea with bubble cities, I think.
Yeah.
That's the way I would go if given the options. And they seem to have this playoff format I love it. So I really like the way
it's going to be exciting.
The only thing
I would look at adopting this moving forward, like full time.
I was going to say that, like, it's pretty 2014. Like,
you know how much more revenue you can generate, especially if fans come back.
Even make the season 6 games shorter. 76
minimum
games.
2, make it 80 games.
Yeah, sure, whatever. The only thing I would change about the NHL is just the fact that they have this exhibition plan, right? But it's only 1 game for each team.
Yeah.
So that part, I think
it's sprawled out over 4 days too.
That's over 3 days, but every team only gets 1, and it's not really fair. Like, some of the teams, it's not like the team that plays on July 30th, which is the last day. They don't have the slowest turnaround till the next game. Like, it doesn't work like that. But I do like the way they set up most of these games. Most of the games make sense of the matchups they chose. They're all like rivals or like people within the same locations, like New York versus New York, or like the Battle of Alberta, Battle of Pennsylvania, the Leafs Habs. Like, those all make sense.
People's engines wrapped up.
Get the people going, right? But I just think they needed probably another extra game, maybe 2. I think 2 would have been better. 1 game, like, I understand they're trying to fit. Injuries. You are? From just too many games?
Yeah. Well, Dubas was on the radio the other day, and he was saying that even though you have, like, these taxi squad or bubble players or whatever that you have accessible to yourself, I think the number was 31. You can carry 31 to that bubble once the game starts.
Okay.
But I think Dubas said he's only going to take 27.
Okay.
Which means that's only like 5 or 6 extra bodies. So, like, I think after round 1 you can reassess and, like, bring more bodies or whatever, or like injuries that can't return in the series. I think you can replace. But it's just interesting because
it's hard to replace, though.
It is, but it sounds like his philosophy is why carry 12 extra bodies around when you only have to carry 6 and monitor 6 instead of 12. So, like, his philosophy is probably right.
Yeah, totally.
except for if a bunch of injuries or something happen. Like that's the only negative to that. But I just found it interesting because even that in itself is going to have different strategies, right? Like, God forbid it does happen and you are carrying 12 guys. What happens if it wipes out all 12 guys?
That's another
You're not
thing.
mitigating your risk either.
Another thing too with the players, the risk that they're taking on is if they do get an injury during the playoffs, like they're normally you'd have more time before the next season started. This time they're more susceptible to missing a lot of time next year too, and that's can be iffy for some of those free agent guys too, which will be a fun thing on its own.
Well, the thing that sucks for the person that wins the cup is, it will probably be the most difficult cup to win, but it will also be the shortest time that a team has held the cup.
Yeah.
So, is the amount of days, because like obviously everyone gets their day with the cup, right? So if the cup is awarded in whatever day it is, and the conclusion of next season is whatever day it is, it's going to be less days than a typical season, right?
Cup, it can't be awarded till like October, man. At this rate, right? That makes sense.
I think it's October. Yeah.
That's.
I think free agency. I think the draft is like the 24th of October or something, and I think free agency is like November 1st. And I think they're planning on starting the next season like December 1st.
Yeah, so that's a quick ass turnaround.
But the thing that will be fun this year with free agency is they've taken away the window. Before they've given that, whatever it was, 48, 72 couple hour window to talk to free agents, so you have an indication. So okay, I'm not going to get this guy. I'll move on to somebody else.
Yeah,
and no one's going to have that. It's going to be like, hey, doors are open. So go for it. So like if you miss out on your guy, you're going to be like if you're going for Taylor Hall and you miss out,
and other guys might already be gone.
Like, hey, Mike, I'm going to give you a bit more money because I missed out on Taylor Hall. So there's going to be a couple contracts that get given out. But once you get past like probably 7 or 8 guy on the list, I don't think anyone's going to get value that they deserve. I think there's going to be a lot of guys who take 2-year deals at where they want to play or where they think it will be good or with players they want to play with and I think there's going to be probably 12 guys we'll end up talking about where we're like, these guys should not be on this term or on this cap on this team.
I can make for some good teams next year to watch.
Mike Hoffman, what if he says, I can't get this money? He will, but just as an example, screw it, let me go to Pittsburgh because then I know I'm going to be playing with Malkin or Crosby. Even if it's for 2 years, those are probably going to be your 2 best years. Yeah. Have fun for a couple years and then try to get paid.
Yeah.
And if you're having fun and you're playing with those 2 guys, you're probably going to have your 2 best years, which means you're going to get paid for it. So it's a win all around.
Yeah, plus, I'm sure a few players realize that money isn't everything with COVID going on, realizing there's bigger things and their life is short and their career in the NHL really is short as well, like even shorter than they might have realized at the beginning. Like, now, okay, I can sacrifice. I want a chance to play, like you said, on a team that I can have fun, win, and close to home or wherever that is, whatever they're interested in. So I'm with you.
Or maybe there's players that don't like what's going on politically speaking in the States. Obviously, there's going to be different levels of people involved in that. And I feel like maybe Americans don't want to be in Canada right now. Or maybe some Canadians don't want to be in America right now. Or maybe some Swedes or Finns don't want to be in North America, period. Like they're saying there's a lot of Russians who might say, you know what, this sucks. You know what, I can't really speak English.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe I'm going to go back to Russia for 2 years because I can get money there. I'll work on my game, and then I'll come back, and we'll see what happens then. So that's what speculation right now with some Russian players are. So it's a little worrisome with some teams, especially teams who have a bunch of Russian-type players and prospects where they could just basically take a hiatus for 2 years and then come back, which could really affect a lot of teams.
Yeah. No, definitely. So much question marks up in the air.
Yep.
A lot of speculation at this point, but I guess
absolutely.
That's what we love too. We love the story of the sport. There's the sport on the ice, but there's also the story off the ice that makes it very interesting to follow along and just throw your sense in there of all.
Like I'm kind of weird because like I love all the the theory craft and the prospects and everything other than the team really, or like the future of the team and where the team's headed.
Mhm.
But when the puck drops, I'm all in the game. Like I want to know who's playing, who's doing what. Like
Yeah.
I watch the game. I would rather watch the game in a quiet room by myself.
I need Kristen there with me. She's
Like
yelling at the TV more than me.
yeah, well, I mean, Misha usually sits with me and she's like watching a show on her iPad or like playing a puzzle game or whatever like that, right? But like, I just mean like I don't like being with like a bunch of people watching a game
No, me either.
because then it's like, oh yeah, they talk to you and it's like I'm watching a game. And it's like I'm watching a game, like, but yeah, okay, yeah, now I'm gonna go back to the game. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, I missed
What
that
do you mean,
goal.
like all those
Or,
Super Bowl parties where like 90% of the people have never watched football before?
yeah, and they're asking you how you've been and how they haven't seen you in a while, and if they like this kind of chip or the chicken
Yeah,
wings you
like
made are
come on,
delicious.
but
What's in the recipe? And
yeah,
yeah,
no, I
I'd
avoid
rather
those
just be like,
situations.
yeah, I usually like if I go out. I mean, I won't be doing it now because I. Can you record games at all on NHL.com? You can't, can you?
What do you mean? Like, you can? Is it legal? No. I don't know what you mean.
Okay.
Like, can I record it and
Like,
then put a clip in somewhere? No.
well, what I was gonna say is like I used to PVR games,
Oh, like
and
you
then
can go back and watch games on NHL. Yeah.
oh, okay,
You
cool.
don't
Or
have to
like
watch them
start from
live.
the beginning.
Yeah. You can, or
Oh, okay, cool.
you can rewind. You can go forward. You can,
Oh, okay,
you can.
perfect. So like what I would usually do is like a PVR a game or whatever, and then if I was going out with people because I knew whatever and it'd be like, "Oh, it's like a 3-2 game and these
Yeah.
people scored the goals." But then I go home and I like watch the game and I like,
See, my biggest
"Oh,
thing is I need to not know what happened. Like, I don't know if you watch
yeah, that's
Seinfeld.
a big thing for me."
Do you watch
Yeah.
Seinfeld? The one where
Some of it.
he's trying not to figure out what the score of the baseball game was, and he
Yeah.
recorded it, and he finally gets home. He
Yeah.
avoided it all, and then fucking Kramer ruins it.
Yeah.
That's me. Like, that's why if I know I'm gonna watch a game later, like with NHL specifically, you have to turn the scores off so that
Yeah.
they're not displaying. Otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't.
Yeah, like I don't mind the game in 6 minutes and stuff like that, but like
Yeah.
for me, it's a lot of like. So I'm a big fan of passing. Like when I play myself, like I pride myself on making nice passes and being a playmaker and making other players better
Yeah.
because I believe the best players make other players better. Like a lot of players can finish a nice pass and put it in the back of the net. There's a lot of players who are like that, but if you can make other people better,
Mhm.
you're a better player. So like when I watch certain people play, I like to be like, oh, that was a beautiful play. Like that guy pulled this guy out of the slot and then fed that beautiful pass back door when the other guy didn't see it. Like that's the stuff I like to watch. Not oh, Matthews finished it with a amazing
Yeah.
wrist shot, top bar, like bar down. Like yeah, that's nice, but I'm more interested in how that whole play developed. So that's
Yeah,
why
like the
I like to
dynamics of the game. I like the dynamics too. Or like these people have been kind of going at it a little bit all game, and then all of a sudden, like Mrazek gets sucker punched in the face. Just little things like that. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But I mean, playoff games, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be all in for playoff games. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I mean, there are more series that I'll kind of be a bit more busy while I'm watching, but a lot of it,
I'm gonna have trouble. Like I'm really excited for the baseball season
right?
too.
Like I'll usually kind of watching and like, is that all good?
Yeah, we just had a little hiccup there.
Okay.
We're good now.
A lot of series I'll kind of watch in the background, like as maybe the first game or the first period of some games. But once it gets to like the second and third period, I'm like not doing anything else. Like I'm in this game.
Yeah, that's the one concern I have is I feel like I'm biting off more than I can chew. Specifically with this channel is that I'm trying to come out with a baseball video every single day lately.
You're posting a lot, yeah.
Well, right now we're at what is it, the 15th? We're at 14 videos in 15 days. We're doing pretty good. Trying to come out with one every day. But when baseball starts and then hockey starts, and like I'm gonna be loving hockey, but I also gonna be loving baseball. Like my poor fiance, like she's not gonna know it. I'm gonna be a zombie of myself.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a lot more of the podcasts on this channel, specifically with us, where like there might be a couple ones where it's 2 hours plus, but I feel like we're gonna have more. Oh, here's a quick hour update, but we're gonna do it twice a week, or
Yeah, let's jump on,
did it on
talk
Monday,
about
but
what
we did
we've
it on
been
Friday
seeing.
because two teams got eliminated or something. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm with that for sure. And then I had the idea, like, this was the dream that I was gonna preview the baseball games every day. That seems like way too much. That's gonna be a lot of work, and I don't see myself being able to
Unless
pull
you
that
did
off.
like a 5 minute video. If
I
you
don't know
kept
how
yourself
you
to
do
like
that
5 minutes.
Yeah, but like, how do you do the problem with baseball? Like, you can do it with hockey because not the playoffs specifically, but normally with hockey, because there's days where there's 2 games or 4 games. Baseball is 15 games every day. If you basically are gonna say
Yeah.
this person plays this.
I thought you meant for one team. I thought you meant
No,
for like the
I
Blue Jays, like
no fucking
preview the Blue
league.
Jays game. No, yeah, that's a
I'm
lot
not gonna be
for
able to
not
do
getting
it.
like paid and like working for like Sportsnet or something like that. That's
No,
a
I know, I
lot.
know what it is, but I gotta figure out something for that. With hockey,
Mhm.
I think we're just you and me are just gonna do the podcast for now. And
Yeah.
like,
I even
I'm
checked out your video with Jesse the other day, and I'm not even a football guy.
yeah, yeah. We were looking to talk some football for sure. Stuff's
Yeah,
picking up. It's kind of the same story with every sport right now, but
yeah.
yeah.
I'm rather ignorant to football. I am.
Well, then you should be watching our
I'm not a
pods this year. We'll get you ready for the season. You'll be a fantasy god.
Actually, funny story. I've played 2 years of fantasy football. Again, I don't follow football. I think
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched a game from start to back that isn't a Super Bowl game. And I won the first year I was in it, and I lost in the final the second year I was in it.
Okay.
Now, obviously, it's because it's pure analytics. Like names mean
Yeah,
nothing,
people just
right?
don't pay attention in
Best
fantasy
players.
too sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's true, like, yeah, for sure. Um,
I would do football fantasy for fun if it was like a $20 pool, and it would be pure analytics, but it wouldn't make me watch the sport. Wouldn't really make me interested. I would know some of the names more, and when people said, "Oh, I like this guy" or "I like that guy," I'd be like, oh, "Okay, I know who that is," rather than
yeah,
I think I've heard that name before.
yeah, totally.
That guy, the wide receiver, I think he was from whatever team it was a couple of days ago that got a huge deal. I've never heard of his name before. I don't even know what team it was.
I can't remember.
But like this guy cashed in, and I'm like, what sport is that? And they're like, he plays for this team. I'm like, never heard that name before.
Yeah, no, there's so much. It's really hard to keep everything straight, but
Only channel I can pop up on is baseball. I can talk a bit of baseball. Well, I know baseball. I follow baseball as well.
yeah.
But
And you've been keeping me entertained with some of the Jays talk at least too.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'm with you. I think
I'm definitely more Jays centric. Like baseball for me, it's Jays. It's Jays prospects. It's
Mhm.
It's MLB potential trades and free agency, and that's kind of my baseball area.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
pay attention really
I
to
like
out of market teams or
no. I've had MLB package now like 4 years straight, and I'm watching every team. I'm still very
just
poor
find
at prospects. That's kind of what I'm hoping to do following this channel this year, is just to be more aware of the prospect side of it, because that's a big part of baseball.
yeah.
To,
Hmm.
but it's like me with hockey. I'm poor. Prospects is always my poor suit.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I like about baseball is they actually have like a top 20, a top 50, a top 100
Yeah.
like league
Prospect list.
prospect
Yeah.
list. But it's also nice because I mean it's not nice, but it is because like there's a lot of pitchers, for example, who maybe have Tommy John or whatever, right? Where
Mhm.
they disappear from the list and then they come back 2 years later. So like it's nice to get refreshing where a lot of other sports it might be like here's the top 50 prospects and the next year 42 of them are the same prospects, you know what I mean? Like the turnaround isn't very high,
That's true.
where into baseball I find that like your top 10 graduate, your top 14 graduate, and half of the bottom half are injured or all out of favor, or other people become more favorable,
Mhm.
and then 2 years later you look at the list and it's 4 of the same names. Like
Yeah, totally.
it's a lot. So that's why I like MLB prospects a lot. Plus, there's also the whole international free agent thing, and signing out of Asia and stuff like that.
Well, the thing
So
with
it's
me is I just like how there's games all the time. I just like being
yeah,
able to there's a game. If I want to watch a game, there's a game on, and that's what's so great about the hockey playoff is there's gonna be a game on. It's gonna be like
Yeah.
baseball but hockey style. It's gonna be.
If there's like an intermission or something in hockey, I'll flip over to baseball for sure. But I'm not gonna lie, one of the biggest things for me that was a huge win for the changes in baseball was the change for the minimum batters to 3.
Oh, for pitchers, yes, I like that a lot too. Yeah,
like
totally.
Watching all the time pitchers change, and then you have lefty specialists who literally come in for like one guy,
one out, one pitch
like
sometimes.
30 minutes. Yeah, you see 30 minutes of shit going on, and there's only like 4 pitches actually thrown.
It would have been better, I think, if they had to be in for 3 outs, because what if that guy just couldn't get a fucking out, and he was stuck, and he was literally stuck in there.
Yeah, that would be funny, but I think they did make the call with the 3.
Yeah, of course.
In case or if you end up with like a kid, and then you destroy the kid because you really didn't want to use him, but you ended up having to, and then now he's fucked.
Yeah, psychologically. Yeah, I don't know if what else. There's not too much other hockey topics to talk about. This is a hockey podcast, but we're a sports YouTube channel, so we can digress every once in a while. It's okay.
Yeah, well, it was one thing that I wanted to ask your opinion on that I heard that was an interesting concept is I know the NHL gave a time period or a deadline to opt out, and other sports are allowing people to opt out at any point and whatever. What about opting back in?
I think once you're out, you're out.
I agree.
You're making the call. You can't oh really, oh no. And that goes for all sports. I agree. Same with the baseball. You're opting out for the season. You're out.
Yeah.
No.
Your personal choice. No hard feelings, but you can't.
Yeah, and that seems to be what all these franchises are kind of. They're all backing up their players. Like realistically, they can't publicly say, "Yeah, we wish this guy's." Like, we can't believe he opted out, blah, blah, blah. They'll just be ridiculed. So they're being PC about it, and as expected. But I'm with you, yeah. Can't opt back in. No chance. If they, I don't care who you are. It's a judgment call at this point. You either are okay with the full risk or you're out.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. And there's definitely no hard feelings if you're out. Like, I can understand that. Or a lot of these kids a lot of these guys who are having kids, or you know.
That seems to be the biggest thing.
Have medical problems or anything, like there's a lot of reasons that I would find acceptable to opt out. Or if you just said, you know what, I don't trust it, sure, that's your opinion.
Yeah, I kind of expected to hear more NHL players opt out than we did. I think the deadline passed for it, to be honest. Wasn't it? I think it was Monday.
It was
And there was hardly any.
5, I think it was.
There's hardly any people.
Yeah, I think there was 7 or 6.
Yeah, quite little.
There's been a few deemed unfit to play, but in terms of opting out themselves. Well, one thing, I actually want to bring this up, Travis Hamonic, who opted out of Calgary.
Yeah.
Something not right in Calgary. I don't know if you heard or not, the lines that came out today.
The lines?
They're having, the line combinations and the scrimmages they were doing.
Yeah.
Apparently they had Gujo by himself, basically, on a different line. Basically their third line.
So
you know how there was the drama at the end of the season, right, with Gujo in Calgary? Isn't now like a perfect opportunity to? Well, they weren't playing him with Monahan and.
When you say at the end of the season, you mean like before COVID? In March. Okay. Yeah. No, I just want to make sure I understood. No.
Yeah, there's just that drama, and then the whole the rumor talk of Gujo being traded and all that other stuff and whatever. Like I just. Something's not right in Calgary. Well, I don't know what it is, and it sucks.
That's the feeling I've had all season long. Every time I open my mouth about it, I was wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Every
time you said that, they went on like a 5-game winning streak.
Exactly. I still stand by it though. I put my money where my mouth is, and the only bet I have in the first beginning of the playoffs here is on the Jets. I bet on them right out of the gate because they were underdogs, and now they're not. I'm interested now that you say that is if the odds changed even more.
I've changed my prediction on that matchup just because of that. Like, I thought Calgary was basically one of those teams that had a perfect opportunity to be like, we had an ugly season. We had the Bill Peters incident. We had all over the place.
Yeah.
Like,
been a long season. All that shit.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like if I was in charge, I would have been like, hey, as Calgary in the play-in versus Winnipeg, basically the Toronto Columbus version where it's the best teams, like I'm putting my best roster out there, and if that means that they don't get the job done, well, they don't get the job done this year. But they were my guys, and I went with them, and they didn't work out for me. And the fact that they're already starting off on a different foot like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking. I just went and looked it up. Winnipeg's odds improved even more. So like, I bought them, and then it improved a little bit, and now it's improved even more. So like,
yeah,
genius.
You could get lucky depending on, because I mean, let's be real. The play-in round could end up in any capacity. Like those 4 teams. I mean, you might even have teams who don't even take it seriously. Like Boston, for example, might just dress a lot or like whatever, right? Just as an example.
Yeah,
like
that's agreed.
Who knows, right? So I mean, let's say Winnipeg beats Calgary, which now I think is entirely possible, and then it turns out that they play a team who's just not clicking in that second round. They could end up stumbling into the Western Final.
Not gonna lie, I think I told you this too. I don't think I said it on here. I bet on the Jets to win the cup. They were like the 4th longest shot. I was just looking at long shots that I put $10 on them to win like 600. So like.
Who are the bottom 4?
I can look now. Columbus was one of them. Montreal. Yeah, Columbus. You just gotta look at the big underdogs in the first round. So Montreal, Columbus.
So Columbus is a big underdog.
Yeah, they're the second biggest underdog in the first round.
And you bet just for one round? Because I would consider taking Columbus over Toronto.
That's what I did.
I'm scared about that.
That's what I did with the Jets.
Okay.
It's just to beat Calgary.
I'm worried about this Columbus-Toronto series.
I don't think you need to be as worried as you are. You gotta have faith. Faith. This is the
It has nothing to do with the rosters. It's just
Steve Dangle is onto something.
It's funny because this would be the year.
Yeah, the asterisk year.
This would be the year.
The asterisk year.
And then they'll win the cup. They'll talk about this asterisk forever and be like, "Oh, a pandemic had to happen for them to do it," and then the world will blow up in 2021 anyways, and it won't matter in history because history will be over.
Yeah, seriously. If there's ever a year written in the stars for the Leafs to win, it's the pandemic year. I'll firmly believe that. And
then everyone will just be like, "Oh, it didn't count. It doesn't actually count."
Exactly. Just because they know, even though we know it doesn't. This is in theory the hardest cup to win.
Yeah.
People just love to troll Leaf fans, so.
Yeah. The one more thing I want to say about the Leafs is Dubas was on the radio the other day, and he referred to it as him taking a shot at some of the free agents that they have, the restricted free agents coming up.
Yeah.
And he basically just said, "Oh, well," Dubas was like, "Oh, like our core is locked up, and some of our core members had some power in negotiations, but it's good now because we have all the power moving forward."
It's true.
It's basically what he said. So like,
I think I said that too when everyone was bitching about his last signing.
Yeah, but it will be interesting to see now because the Leafs can go, okay, we have fantastic centermen. We've got 5 forwards who are better than you. So at any point, you're number 6. So your option is to fuck off to Europe, disappear wherever you want to disappear to, try and find money, or you can take league minimum or what we can offer you right now and go for it.
Be competitive, yeah. They might even be able to allow them to get, like we talked about earlier in this podcast, attract people to take cuts because they're a winning team, a potential very strong powerhouse dynasty in the making.
Well, look at the Penguins back at the last kind of reset time. Yeah, they had Stahl and Malkin and Crosby and I'm forgetting some other people, but Gonchar took a low deal to stick around.
Yep.
Gary Roberts headed over there. They had Matt Cullen, who took way under value for a while. They had Pasquale Dupuis.
Yep.
They had Matt Cook even. Yes, he was.
But still,
he took less money to stay around, and he filled a role on that team. There was another defenseman I'm forgetting right now, a bigger guy who I mean, Hal Gill was there for a couple years for nothing, but there was another guy that I can't remember right now that went and took a deal there. But you look at teams like they're also like that. They're also prime. There's also prime candidates for rebuild teams or how should I phrase it? Like when guys maybe get bought out or guys had really shitty years and they weren't tendered offers or whatever.
Yeah.
A better year to be like, all right, people think I'm useless now.
You'll look good on a team like that too, like just like how Pittsburgh makes people look good.
Exactly. And for league minimum, hey, if you have 2 or 3 guys in the same year that do that, great. Turn one into the second rounder. You manufactured an asset.
Yep, totally.
And like with the Leafs too, like there's a lot of talk here about people complaining that Dubas keeps trading his picks away. And my response to that is, well, look at a guy like Ilya Mikheyev. Mikheyev, argue how you want to argue where he fits in the lineup or what kind of contributor he is. He plays at the NHL level.
Mm-hmm.
And you got him for free, for money, signing him out of Europe when he was, I think, 23 or 24, not 18 when you draft him. So you're basically buying a now draft pick that you drafted 4 years ago. You're just getting him now.
I really think
so it's equivalent to that second rounder.
Yeah, I really think people are going to look back at Dubas and realize that he was ahead of his time. They're gonna. He's doing questionable stuff, but like normally, I love this Henry Ford quote. If I asked people what they wanted, they would have asked for faster horses. So, like, Dubas doesn't care what you think. He has a method. Yeah. He trusts his method, and he's going to execute on his method.
He says, read the book Loon Shots. He compares everything he does to the book Loon Shots.
Loon Shots?
Loon Shots.
All right,
it's apparently I'll double check. I'm pretty sure that's the one, but it's
let me know because I'm in the market for a new read right now.
Yeah, it's basically about thinking illogically or thinking not illogically, thinking unconventionally in a logical world, basically. So like it's all about that people who did something because they knew it was going to be a game changer instead of doing what people said was the right thing to do, and how it changed the game for so many things. And that's Dubas has referred to it 12, 15 times that I've heard of and noted. So like clearly it's something he's living by. So like it's just interesting. I'll double check the name of it.
Sounds good. All right, I think I gotta wrap this up.
Sounds good, man.
Getting a little comfortable sitting here right now. So yeah, thanks for the chat. Well, I think we're gonna touch base soon because sports are right around the corner. If not hockey next week, and then we'll figure it out because we're 2 weeks away. Puck drop. At least on the.
I think we should do. We should take a page out of your book for the biases.
And
I think we should do our NHL biases next week before everything starts up.
Okay, on all the teams.
Every team.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to keep it 1 through 31, or do you want to keep it per East and West?
Let's do 1 through 31. Or would you rather East? It doesn't matter to me.
Let's do 1 through 32, including the expected Seattle franchise.
Okay, let's do that. And I think it'll be interesting because we got the West Coast and then we got the East Coast, and it could very well show up in our biases that way too.
It might. It will be interesting to see that because I know there's a couple in there, so it'll be interesting to see. So I think we should do that next week.
Yeah.
And then the week after, we can get into our check and see if we still believe in the predictions we made / update them.
Yeah.
And then we can get right into the playoffs after that.
Sounds great,
that's a good way to go.
Let's do that.
Wicked, man.
That's a plan.
Cool.
All right. Take care.
Later.
Bye.